There was a black stain crawling out from behind a poster in my hallway. It was pointing at my roommate's door. 3 days before that, I dreamed of a dead woman frozen halfway in a river. Her arms unfolded like a spider's, and her throat had a second mouth. And when I woke up gasping, my girlfriend was standing over me, smelling like river mud. I didn't know it yet, but the nightmare wasn't finished with me. It was just getting started. My name doesn't matter. What matters is the duplex. Angie and I rented half of it, 10 minutes on foot from her campus, cheap enough that neither of us complained about the thin walls or the radiator that hissed all night like it was breathing. The other half of the lease belonged to Olivia. She was quiet, tall, and used to row competitively before something happened. She never said what. Now she worked odd shifts at City Hall and drifted through the apartment like a draft under a door. We'd lived with her almost a year. She kept to herself, and that was fine by us. Angie had this poster by our bedroom door, some true crime podcast she loved. A faceless black silhouette, chalk outlined, floating over the show's title. She'd ordered it special. Said it was a good poster. That morning, the wall behind it had started leaking. A dark, muddy sludge, oozing down the paint like the drywall itself had started to sweat. Angie said the glue was reacting to something and asked me to grab cleaner on my way back. I asked her why we couldn't just tear it down. She said she didn't want to ruin it. She was already halfway out the door, late for class like always. She bumped into Olivia in the hallway on her way out, a quick sorry, and Olivia just nodded, disappeared into the bathroom, and was gone. I scraped at the sludge with my fingernail. That was a bad idea. It got on my hands, and the smell hit me before I even registered what it was. Not sweet rotten, like the memory it dragged up, a bag of mangoes I'd once lost under a car seat as a teenager, left to dissolve in the plastic through a whole summer, a smell that clung to my skin for weeks after. This was different. Wetwood, silt, river bottom. I wiped my hands on paper towels and told myself it didn't matter. We were saving up. Angie had one more year of her degree, and then we'd move somewhere with actual sunlight again. I had no idea how long one more year was about to feel. Work blurred by. By the time I crossed the bridge home, the sky had gone that flat gray yellow that comes right before full dark. The cold bit at my face hard enough that I didn't stop to look at the water, even though something about it pulled at me. Angie beat me home. She had the same podcast going while we cooked. Ground beef was spitting in the pan, the radiator was ticking in the corner. It was some true crime episode about a murder that happened right here in our neighborhood, less than 10 years back. A man had stalked his victim. He broke into her apartment before he killed her, slit her throat, and dumped her in the river during some freak early freeze. She'd almost made it to shore. Half alive, half frozen. They found her the next morning, blood trailing from her like a stain on ice, grinning up at kids skating past her. A shadow crossed the table. For one full second, I thought there was a man standing in our kitchen. Angie jumped in her chair. It was just Olivia. She had been home the whole time, apparently, choosing this exact moment to walk in. She laughed and said she was sorry, wearing that same nervous half-smile she always wore. She said she didn't mean to scare us. She got a glass of milk. In the dark window behind her, lit by the fridge light, her reflection wasn't smiling at all. She padded off to her room in silence. We finished dinner without saying much. I forgot the cleaner. Angie said it was fine. I kissed her cheek, told her I'd see her in bed, and crawled under the blankets while she stayed up reading. The radiator ran too hot, so I cracked the window and let the cold pull me under. I was walking on ice. Ahead of me, there was something pale. Wood, I thought at first. Then it resolved, not wood. A woman, frozen half into the river, arms bent at wrong angles, fingers red at the tips from clawing at the ice. I kept walking toward her. I don't know why. A crack opened under my shoe. It ran across the ice straight to her, and she twitched. Like the crack was a current running into her. Her arms unfolded, slow, then fast, too fast, joints working like something with too many elbows, and her head turned toward me. Two mouths grinning, one on her face and one open along her throat. Both of them stretched wider as her arms came up, and I fell. Hard onto my back, the air knocked clean out of me. The ice tilted. I slid toward her helpless, while something hissed and rattled and gasped, far too long to be a human sound, its two cold eyes fixed on me from somewhere above. I opened my eyes in the dark. The radiator hissed in the corner. Streetlight bled yellow through the frost on the window. A figure stood over the bed. Mud. I smelled river mud. Angie spoke softly, leaning down to kiss my forehead. She said I was really warm and asked if I wanted the window open more. I couldn't answer right away. My heart was still slamming. I told her it was fine. She climbed in beside me and was asleep in minutes. Behind her, lit at the edge of the streetlight, the mud was crawling out from behind the poster again. The next day at work, I couldn't shake a song stuck in my head. 3 words on loop, thumping like a pulse against my ribs. I asked my coworker Keith if he knew a song that goes, "She knows, she knows, she knows." He barely looked up and said it didn't ring a bell. Neither did my phone. I set a reminder for the cleaner and let it go. Walking home, I took the river path. Cold air, slush along the cobblestones. The water's still open, but starting to skin over at the edges. I found myself wondering when it would freeze solid this year, and that thought dragged the dream right back up. The crack. The white arms unfolding. Something grabbed my shoulder. Hard. Fingers digging in. I spun around, heart in my throat, and it was a branch. Just a branch, knocked loose from the bare trees overhead, already lying still on the stones like a severed hand. Nobody was around to see me flinch at nothing, which was somehow worse. That's when I looked it up. The exact spot. And it matched. This was where they'd pulled her out of the water. I told Angie when I got home. She was cross-legged on the couch, laptop open. She said it was creepy and asked if the spot felt weird. I thought about the branch and told her not really. She asked about the tapping. I looked down. I've been drumming my knuckles on my chest again. Same rhythm. I told her it was just a song stuck in my head. She asked how it goes. Olivia walked past just as I said it out loud. She knows, she knows, she knows. She gave me a strange look before disappearing into the kitchen. Angie shrugged it off, indie rock probably. And I finally went to scrub the wall like I'd promised, cleaner in hand this time. The stain had grown. I cracked the window, hoping it really was just the radiator's humidity, and scrubbed. The poster's eyes seemed to track me around the room the whole time. I hadn't noticed before how bright they were against all that black. She knows, she knows, she knows. I muttered it along with the scrubbing. Olivia came back through, eating noodles straight from the pot. I asked her if she grew up around here, trying to shake the weirdness from earlier. I told her I walked past where they found that woman today, and a branch fell on me. She stayed quiet for a moment, then said she thought she heard about that. She paused and told me I should be careful with that stuff. She meant the cleaner. At least, I think she meant the cleaner. She took her noodles and shut her door. That night we watched TV instead. By coincidence, or something like it, this week's episode covered the exact same murder. Same river. Same unidentified man, seen once, described by one unreliable witness under a streetlight. Still out there, as far as anyone knew. Snow fell against the windows just like the night before. I leaned into Angie, barely watching the screen, thinking about how close we were to just finishing this chapter. Her degree. The move. The sunlight waiting on the other side of it. I woke up in bed without remembering how I got there. There was light under Olivia's door down the hall. The poster's mud was still leaking, lit gold by the streetlight. Her eyes on the poster followed me even under the blanket. I told myself the poster hadn't always had eyes like that. I told myself that was a stupid thing to think at 3 a.m. I lay there, running the pieces together in my head. The murder. The mud. The branch. The dream. The show playing it all back to me a second time, maybe from the exact stretch of path I'd walked. She knows, she knows, she knows. I put my arm around Angie just to feel something warm and alive next to me and stared out at snow-heavy branches that looked, for just a second, like pale arms reaching in through the glass. Eventually, sleep took me again. By morning, the mud had reached the floor, past the door frame, into the hallway carpet. It was heading toward Olivia's room. Angie said it was gross and suggested we just take it down. I told her I'd try stronger cleaner first, unable to look away from the poster for more than a second at a time. I took the long way home from work that day, avoiding the river path entirely. From the bridge, I could see the water already starting to skin over. It would probably be frozen solid by morning. Same as the murder. I lay down for a nap before Angie got home, and the nightmare picked up exactly where it left off. Flat on my back on the ice. The body above me, arms reaching down, and this time when the cold, bloody fingers got close, they didn't grab me. They pointed past me. They pointed at something enormous, right at the edge of my vision the whole time, too close to focus on. A mouth was working under two black eyes, trying to say something I couldn't hear. I woke up to an empty apartment. I called out for Angie. Nothing. Just the radiator and the branches scraping the glass. I'd slept longer than I meant to. A text was waiting on my phone, sent an hour earlier, saying she left her laptop on campus and had to go back for it. She said I was asleep, so Olivia offered to walk her. I sat up slow. Her laptop. I'd seen Angie set it on the side table last night. I'd seen it there again this morning before work. She never took that laptop anywhere. My thumb hovered over a reply. It's here on the side table. And then I just got up instead. I had to check for myself. The mud had spread further down the hall, soaking into the carpet. On the poster, the corpse's outstretched arm seemed to be pointing straight through the paper, down the hallway, toward Olivia's room. The laptop wasn't on the side table. It wasn't anywhere in the living room. I pulled up the location tracker I'd set up on Angie's phone months ago, just in case. I found her laptop instead, still connected, still pinging. It was inside our own unit. I followed the blue dot down the hall. My socks went damp and cold, smelling like riverbank the second I stepped where the mud had soaked in. And the dot didn't point toward our bedroom. It pointed the same direction as the outstretched arm on the poster. Straight at Olivia's door. Dark. Silent. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't open that door right away. I stood there for a long time, staring at that silhouette on the poster, at the arm pointing down the hall, feeling like the whole apartment had been trying to tell me something since the day that stain first appeared. I keep thinking about her fingers, red at the tips, clawing at ice that wouldn't break fast enough. I keep thinking about the mud and the song and the branch that grabbed my shoulder from a tree that was never close enough to reach me. I still don't know what I'm going to find behind that door. If you want to know what happened next, you already know what to do. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. And maybe don't scrub too hard at stains you don't understand.